on 1019 WDET FM. I'm Tia Graham, and this week we are joined by Colin Jackson, a reporter with the Michigan Public Radio Network. Colin, it's Thursday already. How has this week been for you with the Metro so far?
My, Tia, how time flies. This has been a great week, and I know I'm going to have to listen back through those episodes, and I know they're available at WDET.org and also wherever you find your podcasts.
Oh, that plug was amazing. Flawless. Shameless. I mean, it just seamless.
I mean, it's the truth, though.
You've been here.
I got
You've been here
drives
before.
ahead of me, you know. I got some time to listen to some podcasts.
Why not listen to your own voice, right?
You got to listen to the game tape. Review it.
Got to. So what's happening on the show today?
Today on the program, this Saturday is National Thrift Shop Day. So we'll talk with someone who co-owns a thrift store in Hamtramck to talk about what she's preparing to do for the special day.
Awesome. Plus, Detroit's poet laureate, Jessica Care Moore, is here to chat about the first poet published with More Black Press. Jessica's press company will hear from the poet Brad Walrond, who's presenting his book tonight at Source Booksellers. But first, Colin, you have a conversation at the top.
Yes, we do. Oakland County has endured a lot of changes in the past few decades. It was once steadily Republican, but residents broke the trend of turning out for conservatives 8 years ago. In 2016, they voted for Hillary Clinton. In 2018 and 2022, they voted for Governor Whitmer. And in 2020, residents voted for Joe Biden. Oakland County has become more highly educated and more ethnically and racially diverse as well over the last decade. But it's not just demographic changes that have shifted the area's political voting patterns. In politics, there are always people that need to be persuaded to your side or need convincing to come out and vote. One person doing a lot of that convincing is Lori Goldman. Lori is founder of Dems for Femmes, a group of progressive women organizing for Democrats in Southeast Michigan. She's part of creating the blue wave that's washed over Oakland County this past decade. So to discuss her theory of organizing and what Democrats need to do to turn out the vote in Oakland County, we have Lori Goldman here with us. Lori, welcome to the Metro.
Hey, Tia and Colin, thank you so much. And I like Dems for Femmes, but it was Femmes for Dems.
Femmes for Dems, my apologies.
That's okay. Hey.
Femmes for Dems. You've had a lot of organizing or a lot of experience organizing now. You were a big part of helping to shift Oakland County blue in favor of both Governor Whitmer in 2018 and Joe Biden in 2020, as we mentioned. What is your philosophy around organizing people? You know, what makes a good organizer?
Well, in my opinion, what makes a good organizer is being open to bring people into the work and disabusing them of the fear that they have. This is nothing that requires a special education or a special pedigree. When I started Femmes for Dems back in February of 2016, I was a spotty voter. I was an uneducated voter when I did vote, and I voted all over the place without knowing why. Hillary Clinton inspired me in February of 2016 to start Femmes for Dems. And the only reason Femmes for Dems is still here and going strong is because of all the people that we were able to bring into the work and bring into what we do. And it's more than just political awareness raising. It is bringing people into a community. We all care about our kids growing up safely with enough food and housing and medical care. We all care about the things we care about. That's not different whether you're an R or a D. So keeping that front of mind what has made Femmes so successful thus far.
What are the concerns of Oakland County residents right now as you see them?
Well, you know, a lot of it is the kitchen table items, especially the lower your income. You have to worry about where you're going to live. Affordable housing. I happen to be a realtor, and affordable housing is a problem, not just for people trying to get by on minimum wage, but for people making what used to be a good wage. Also, health care, prescription costs, the cost of gas, the cost of food. Until the last year or so, I couldn't have told you what a loaf of bread cost, and now I can't stop thinking about how much a loaf of bread costs. So it's really kind of crazy. But we're also being embroiled in this divisiveness that's happening in the political realm. Everything that's happening in the world, instead of us coming together to solve problems and to elect people that will bring those problems to a conclusion, we're divided. We're talking about politics. Talking about what you believe in is now considered as bad taste as, you know, talking about religion and other things used to be.
You talk to a lot of suburban mothers in your work, and suburban mothers are this interesting political group because they're not often party insiders. They tend to be more moderate, but at the same time, they do come out to vote. You organize them, you work with them, you try to turn them out to vote. What are some of the things on their mind right now? I know you had mentioned the cost of groceries, for example.
Well, suburban mothers are pretty much thinking about a lot of things that a lot of people are, but specifically how to take care of their families, raise their children, work their jobs, pay for everything that needs to be paid for, and get the housing that they need. So they have those immediate concerns. But I think they also look ahead. You know, they have children, and anybody with children or anyone that loves children worries about the future for our children. So those are things that I think matter. And we don't let ourselves be spoon-fed anymore about how we're going to achieve that goal that we're all working toward.
You know, there's a lot of distrust we've seen in this political system. You know, a lot of people just feel disenfranchised with it. They haven't seen candidates that inspire them recently, or a lot of people feel at least like they haven't seen candidates that inspire them. I'm curious, when you come across someone who really just feels disengaged or says, oh, politics, I don't care about that, how do you bring out people who really don't care about politics out to vote?
Well, that happens quite a lot. And it doesn't matter if I'm in Detroit talking to a young man of color, or if I'm in the suburbs talking to a woman in her 60s, which is my age range, who's got a lot of money. People feel like politics has a dirty name, and they might not want to engage. They might not want to vote. They might not want to talk about it. But you try to find common ground. Everybody cares about safety. Everybody cares about how much it costs to fill up your car and your groceries and all these things. And they want to live in a world that is safer and better than the one that they lived in before. And you know what? People care about too. People care about how the United States is viewed. And in the last, 2 cycles, we've gotten a lot of probably not unearned bad reputation about how we're handling things. It almost feels like we're living in a sketch from Saturday Night Live sometimes, and people aren't cool with that. We want to be proud of our country.
If you're just listening, we're speaking with Lori Goldman, founder of Femmes for Dems, a progressive organization based in Oakland County. We're talking about what Democrats need to do to turn out the vote in part of Michigan in November. And just listening to the conversation that you both are having right now, Lori, just piecing off of some of the things that you've already said. You talked a little bit about getting voters who aren't going to vote, or maybe getting people who aren't as educated with what's going on. You talked about your experience in 2016, Hillary Clinton. Talk about that power that you felt to push yourself to learn more, to understand what was going on around you more. Like, other than Hillary Clinton, what else was happening that made you say, you know what, I have to take a charge of my political career here?
Well, in my ignorance, I was very surprised at how much I didn't know that I thought was true that wasn't. And like you were talking about, Colin, recently, the worst enemy of democracy is ignorance. And sometimes some of the, politicians push agendas that are not based in truth. And so that makes people harder to talk to and to rationalize with. And they go off on a tangent, like same as if the world is flat. Well, the world's not flat, but if you yell and scream at somebody they're closing down. They're not going to listen to you. So what we try to do at Femmes for Dems, Femmes for Democracy, Femmes for Change, Distill Social, at the Dem clubs and the Oakland County Dems and all the thousands of groups that made Michigan be where we are today, is we try to educate from a position of acceptance of where you are now. You do not, whether you're dating or making friends on the schoolyard, you do not win people over by, belittling them and making them feel less than. So we all don't know more than we do know, and we better all remember that when we're talking to people about politics.
That is one. That was an amazing quote right there. And just building off of that, learning more, the ignorance, and that's one of the things that we often run into. And whether it's ignorance with bliss or ignorance without bliss, I think about the generational differences. I talk to my mom often about politics, and she often talks about the things that she didn't learn growing up and the things that just weren't in the education system at the time. So how has access to education, to different things, whether it's the candidates or whether it's a new policy, whatever it may be, how has access truly changed the minds of those who are a little bit older?
Well, access is a double-edged sword. So social media can give you access about all kinds of things, including talking to your dead grandmother. So there's a lot going on. You have to be careful where you're getting your information. But what I tell people is talk to the people around you, and then talk to people you don't know so well. Talk to your kids' teachers. Talk to your kids. Talk to your pastor, your rabbi, your instructor at the gym, whatever your life has. Let's start being curious. Let's get rid of that idea that it's not good to talk about politics. All right? It is good. We're in the place we are today because we didn't talk about it. We all know what we want and we need. We want access. Every American deserves access to the rights that sometimes are denied. And not just the people without money, but of course, they're certainly getting the shorter end of the stick, but all of us.
Yeah, Lori, that access, and like you mentioned, everyone deserves a right to a functional democracy and deserves to be part of the political process. I'm curious because the 2016 Hillary Clinton campaign was such a seminal moment in your political career and your political awakening, if you will. Around that campaign, we also saw a lot of just national discourse, though, about who felt welcome in that campaign and who didn't feel welcome in that campaign. The term white feminism was something that I think came into the national discourse at the same time. So I'm curious, when you're building a movement like this in Oakland County, and as we mentioned, that's rapidly diversifying and everything else, how do you make sure that movement stays inclusive?
Well, that's the question of the century, and that is the linchpin of success or failure. We live in our silos, whether we think we're awakened or we are not. And we have to be mindful. I'm a 65-year-old white woman living in Beverly Hills. All right? I think that I'm inclusive. I think I know what is affecting other women of different races, different sexual orientations, nationalities. I don't. And I didn't swear right there, so I'm very proud of myself.
Yes.
So I don't know, and I have to remind myself that I don't, and that's where communication comes in. I'm not going to mention the group, but, there's 100 groups now, Women for Kamala, Jews for Kamala, Women of Color for Kamala, a million things, Men with 6 toes for Kamala, a million groups. And recently, and friends are always sending each other to these groups. I mean, we're collecting them like they must have collected Tonka toys back in the day. So one of these groups, somebody pointed out that transgender women were not welcome. And so that was a big brouhaha. We have to keep our eye on the prize, and we have to keep our eye on the fact that everyone is welcome. Your next door neighbor that might be a Karen that you would never want to have a beer with, she is welcome. And if you don't welcome everybody, you're not going to change the hearts and minds of anybody.
And just building off of that really quickly, Lori, because we have these conversations often where we say, I'm not going to talk to this person. I'm not even going to give them the time of day because they think this way or they're that way. So in what ways can we approach these conversations or approach people who we may not necessarily approach in our everyday life? Like you said, just walk up and have a conversation. What would that even look like?
Well, I do stand up on the side, and I don't say I do it well, as you can tell from my quips here, but the thing to do is you can always break down a person's barrier with humor. So if I'm in the grocery store and I kind of overhear a couple ladies talking about something, I'll go up and say, don't be afraid of me, all right? I am a Democrat, but I'm just curious. Honestly, from my heart to yours, I want to know, what is your motivation? If you're supporting another candidate, a different candidate, who knows who, tell me how you feel that way. And I'm not judging you. I want to learn. And when you come up like that, when you're vulnerable and you open yourself up to other people, they understand, and I think they feel good being able to share their thoughts. And maybe in that brief period of time, I can open up something for them that they didn't think about, that they can take away. And maybe it's not going to change whom they vote for, but maybe it'll change that they think that women have a right to their reproductive choices. Maybe it'll change a little something here and there, and that's how you build.
There we have it. Lori Goldman is the founder of Femmes for Dems. Lori, thank you so much for joining us on the Metro.
All right, this is so fun, and I'm glad it's not TV because I didn't brush my hair.
It's just fine. And if you're a man with 6 toes, you can still listen. You're listening to WDET 1019.
This is the Metro on 1019 WDET FM. I am Tia Graham here with Colin Jackson, reporter with the Michigan Public Radio Network. Colin, just really quickly, mostly cloudy today, a high of 84 degrees. Tomorrow, there's a chance of rain and thunderstorms, a high of 82. Saturday, more rain expected, a high of 78. And Sunday, also more rain expected with a high of 74. So just pack an umbrella, some rain boots. You should be fine. Michigan's warm weather is almost gone, so we got to keep it up. We got to keep staying outside.
We got to.
Outside. Outside.
It's still summer.
Yep, I'm outside until...
I refuse to surrender.
Yeah.
So far.
I'm not surrendering.
No, not to the clouds.
Nothing with warm and Michigan together will make me surrender. So I'm going to keep holding out until we get some cold weather coming in here. However, coming up on the Metro, we'll talk with an author about his new book of poems, Everywhere Alien, which explores themes of belonging. You all stay right there. This is the Metro on 1019 WDET FM. I am Tia Graham here with Colin Jackson with the Michigan Public Radio Network. Hey, Colin.
Hey, Tia.
How's it going?
Oh, my goodness. It's about to be a great day. I can tell.
I can tell you're super excited right now because you're sitting next to Detroit's Poet Laureate, Jessica Care Moore. Super excited about this next conversation because Jessica has brought us a very amazing guest as well. What does belonging mean to you? Maybe it's being in spaces where people look or think like you. No matter what it means to you, it's a very human desire. Like other nations, America has drawn internal lines preventing people from belonging in its experiment. Poet Brad Walrond explores belonging in his latest book, Everywhere Alien. Walrond is a poet, author, conceptual performance artist, and one of the foremost participants in the 1990s Black arts movement in New York City. He is also the first poet to be published by More Black Press, which was founded by Detroit's Poet Laureate Jessica Care Moore in 1997. To tell us more about Everywhere Alien is author Brad Walrond. Brad, welcome to the Metro.
Welcome. Thank you.
You are welcome. And no stranger to the station, no stranger to the Metro is Jessica Care Moore of More Black Press, the founder of More Black Press, as well as Detroit's Poet Laureate. She's an author, performer, and also debut movie executive producer.
Yes.
He looked like a postcard. We're going to get into all of that
Let's go.
later on in the show. Jessica, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm always happy to be at WDET. Always happy to be with you.
Yay,
Yes,
so
excited. Lots going on.
You have
I'm
so
really
much.
busy.
I looked at your whole calendar. I said, she has no days off in August. No days off.
Yeah, Tobias Trevelyan, shout out to my co-star. He looked like a postcard. No days off. We don't believe in it. I'm going to get some days off in October. But yeah, before that, I'm just moving. And you know what, though? I love what I do. I love supporting other voices. Brad Walrond is an amazing poet out of New York City. We ran around New York in our 20s together. And he's the first poet on More Black Press, Harper Amistad. I've been publishing poets since 1997. Saul Williams was actually my first poet.
Nice.
And I haven't really stopped. I took a pause for the cause to think this idea of more Black press and how I can do this better at this point in my career. And so my agent, Regina Brooks, and I got together and we talked to Harper. My book is on HarperCollins. We want Our Bodies Back. It did really well during the pandemic. And so we have an imprint deal with them. So it's a way for me to still publish, do what I love, which is pushing poets forward, and not have to go to the post office. So, Harper takes care of that heavy lifting of shifting the books, shipping them all over the world. And I just get to celebrate and their voices in a bigger way.
I love that, because that was literally one of my questions about HarperCollins. How's that connection going? But like you just said, I don't have to go print and go to print anything anymore or send anything anymore.
It's a beautiful struggle. It's not easy, because I'm used to making all the decisions. So it is, but the distribution is the biggest win for more Black press. And so more poets are coming. But tonight we have Brad Walrond at Source Booksellers in Detroit.
Super excited about that, because I went through the book and I was just reading some of the poems. You have some really cool themes in the book. Gotham, Where the Kids Raise Themselves, Desire, The God's Most Natural Experiment. There were just so many different themes in the book, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, where do you begin to even break it down? You really need to take time to break it down. So Brad, if you could just describe Everywhere Alien, where did this idea come from to put this together in the way with the sketches and the way that the words are floating around the sketches within each page? Like, how did you put this together?
It's been a rich journey. The center of it came from my own life experience in New York City, between like 5 underground creative movements in New York City. So the house ballroom scene, underground house dance music community, the Black Rock Coalition, the HIV artivists scene, and there's always one more. God damn it. There's one more. It'll come. And being part and immersed in all of them, and there's always some part of you that is underexpressed or not quite honored in either spaces. So that's where Everywhere Alien came from. But then, like you say, it is like this uber surrealist dimensional journey, and ultimately it's a journey inward. I think that's what, for me, this notion of alienation and belonging has taught me, that the journey really is inside, and really capturing the contours of all the beings inside you, and finding the faith and the courage to live that as wildly and as boldly as you can. And that's my dream for every human being. And that's the other piece, it centers Blackness. But Blackness is a civilizational inheritance. It is the species, right? And then we have white supremacy, and it's almost like the world has conspired to alienate ourselves from our own humanity. You know what I'm saying? So this is the journey that ultimately I'm running through.
Yes. We better talk about that book real good like that. I'm gonna reread it.
But to speak about the journey and putting it together, we were talking yesterday, this vision kept multiplying because of the faith that I put in it, the investment that I put in it. And so getting with the designer, Tim Nottage is the one that did the designs in the book. So we worked on that for a good year and a half. We put it together. And, folks was like, no, you just need to give them a manuscript. Da, da, da. Like, no, I need to see. I need to know what I'm, you know what I'm saying? What I'm birthing into the world.
Yeah.
So that part of it, too, is its own, because it takes on its own life.
Yes.
Each poem becomes its own journey. So
and I'm just the midwife.
You're just here to help that journey along, to help birth it.
Just the humble midwife over here.
Just to help birth.
But to be plain about that, to have Jessica, we are very dear friends, right? So there's this reservoir of trust. You know what I'm saying? But to have her proximal to its viability this whole time just kept me pushing. And there's a moment where I was like, Jessica, I'm gonna self-publish. I was like, I'm gonna take the manuscript. I was writing so much, I had manuscripted 3 books. And I was like
Jessica, 2 Bibles and 1 Quran.
I was like, Jessica, I'm gonna take Everywhere Alien. I'm gonna give you this. And she was like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
So we don't get crunched on time here because we gotta get to the conversation or get to the book readings tonight that's happening at Source
Booksellers.
Sellers right down the street from WDET.
Yes.
And I'm just still laughing right now from this conversation. But just thinking about the book, of course, like we said, I would have you read a piece. I did pick out a piece that I would love you to read. Actually, I hope you have it bookmarked.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. How to describe a slave ship in 3 minutes or less.
Oh, yeah.
That was the one that I saw and it stood out to me and I said, I would love for Brad to read that one. So
and
folks
while he's
can
looking
know.
for the book, the poem, look at the table of contents.
Yes, Jessica.
Yeah,
Black Women Rock.
Yeah, Black Women Rock is coming August 31st. If you don't have your tickets, it's the baddest rock and roll concert in the world. Kimberly Nicole's coming. She's just fresh off a tour with Janelle Monáe, and I'm so excited to have Nick West coming back because she's been rolling with Lenny Kravitz so much that we haven't been able to get her. So she's coming. She's making time to come for our 20th anniversary. Joy is coming. And so Timur Kali, who did my first show 20 years ago, Divinity Rocks, who's a superstar, was an MD for Beyonce. And I only say those other women's names because I want people to understand these women are legends and they're stars already. It's not an emerging talent show. Just because you don't know who they are doesn't mean that we don't know who they are. Exactly. And if you haven't seen the show, come. It's a great weekend, Labor Day weekend. Fillmore Detroit, I'm so gracious to this space for having the faith in us. But I need 3,000 people to show up for us August 31st. So buy tickets in advance. We have for the young people, it's an all ages show. For the teenagers and college age students, BWR20 is the code, and you got $20 floor seats. That's floor standing room, because if you got young legs, you don't need to sit down anyway. I mean, I would get the floor for $20 personally. I have that kind of energy. I want to jump around. We want a mosh pit.
Yes.
So please get the floor filled up for us. That would make me happy if just the floor was filled up, just so we can jump inside the people. Awesome. So that's happening. And then so tonight we have Brad at Source. Yeah, and then he's gonna hang out with us all week. Tomorrow, me and Stephanie's record comes out, and he'll be with us at Spotlight. 6 p.m.
So go ahead and give us this poem, and you can poem us out.
Yes. All the drinks are vinegar and virgin, sweetened with loads of cane sugar and cotton. A Caribbean cruise loops in a vine jiff. Pile 'em in, all aboard, each ticket cost. Freedom. Press like, hit send, retweet, screen grab. It does not matter. This mission, accept it or not, will self-destruct in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This image is a super predator. This image is a mass incarcerated. This image passes go with or without college degrees or mortgages. It does not matter. This image purchases prisons for hotels. Picture a microaggression stutters on the word infinite. Imagine being colored blind in Mississippi. Imagine a murder of crows flies south inside a dog whistle. A 20th century sly as a fox. Relativity is partial to light, grim on darkness. All the theories are white. All the facts are black. Feather and tar fraternize a universe born dark, invisible, and expanding. Imagine an owner, an amnesiac, a sociopath, and a citizen are synonyms, painting the Barclays Center clear as a Homestead Act. The glass windows are ceilings. Everything hangs so nice. Strange fruit are bats bruising America's heirlooms. If only we were good enough to live the lives of our antiquities in the Sainsbury Africa galleries of the British Museum. Over 200,000 objects lie in wait as if they are black. If only we were royal enough for those Congolese artifacts King Leopold II ferreted into Belgium. Patents wait so patient in his Royal Museum of Central Africa. There it is. Imagine a slave ship as a royal museum happy at sea, while Africa's remains center at the back of the bus, remembering nothing besides possession. Imagine every ship is a corporation. Imagine every corporation got a Jones for whitewash. Imagine a brand is the cleanest, most effective form of forgetting which color does what to whom, and after all the dirty minerals spit bath. Imagine the West as one word chronicles the advent of cognitive dissonance, while Eckhart Tolle's New Age wipes space-time white as snow. Rare earths warm just how you like it. A wet womb, a blank check. All borders, no boundaries, gateway drugs read better as constitutions. Genocide, obviously America's first opioid crisis. Uncontrolled substances take the name Harriet. Controlled substances grandfathered in. How did we all get here without a moral compass? Where are we? That's right, a slave ship. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There you have it. One of the poems that I read, How to Describe a Slave Ship in 3 Minutes or Less. That is Brad Walrond, the author of Everywhere Alien. He's a poet, author, and conceptual performance artist. You can visit and meet Brad tonight at Source Booksellers for book readings and signings. It begins at 6 p.m. We also heard from Jessica Care Moore, Detroit's poet laureate, author, filmmaker, musician, and founder of More Black Press, plus so many more things. Jessica, we can't wait to hear from you and see how that Black Women Rock concert goes. 20th anniversary, actually. Woo! Thank you for both for being here.
Thank you, Tia. Love you. Thank you.
Thank you. This is the Metro. Coming up, the legendary saxophonist Wendell Harrison will join us to discuss a live performance he has in Detroit's Palmer Park this weekend. You stay right there. This is the Metro on 101.9 WDET FM. Colin, we have a very lively show today.
We absolutely do. We've had some really just legendary people on, and we're going to continue those conversations, aren't we?
Yes, we have legends on today, and a legendary thing is happening in a Detroit park this weekend. Earth Tones concert at the Palmer Park Log Cabin is back this Sunday, and for the second year, the series brings people together in the park through music, arts, and storytelling. Detroiter Wendell Harrison and Tribe will be making people move this Sunday, August 18th from 4 to 7 p.m. Harrison is a saxophonist, a clarinetist, composer, and educator. He was also the 10th artist to receive the Kresge Eminent Artist Award for his dedication to the arts in the city of Detroit. To discuss the concert, we're joined by Wendell Harrison. Wendell, thank you so much for joining us on the Metro. Welcome back to WDT.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Joe Darling here. He's the producer and entrepreneur.
Hello. Yeah, nice to be here.
Yeah, Joe, welcome
Palmer
to the
Park.
show. The curator of the Earth Tones concert series, as well as you're a member of the Arts and Culture Committee for the people of Palmer Park. So welcome to the Metro.
That's right. Thanks so much.
Yeah. So
I like that music he was playing.
Oh, yeah, you like that. The music we opened with was actually Wendell and Harold McKinney playing on WDET's Detroit Jazz Alive. That's in 1993. It's part of the Detroit Sound Conservancy Archive. And I'm not trying to age myself. I was born in 92. So to hear that.
Wow, it brought me back. I mean, it brought the spirit back. I said, where did that come from? You know,
I love that.
I couldn't believe it. You
So-
know, that was a great master that's our ancestor now. He passed away in 2001, you know.
So hearing that did bring back memories.
Yeah. So I think it was a radio broadcast we did with a series we on the Kim Herron show.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had an organization, Rebirth, that produced the Kim Herron show for 15 years.
Wow.
And we had live bands coming in from New York, California, New Orleans. We played right here in the studio. You know.
In this studio.
Yeah, right. In the
Oh
studio.
my God, the history in
Yeah, a
this
lot of
place.
history.
75 years this year. We're celebrating 75 years of WDET. So I know you're a part of that.
Yeah.
You're a part of that.
Well, this goes back about 35 years. And we started playing here like 50 years ago.
Wow.
You know, with the Tribe.
Yeah. Yes.
Tribe folks.
So I just want to get into the concert series for just one moment. So Joe, it is the second year of Earth Tones concerts at the cabin. Just talk a little bit about the concert series. This is going to be the fourth one. This is going to be the third one this year, right?
Third one, that's right.
Third one this summer.
Yeah, so basically at the beginning of last year, People for Palmer Park was awarded the Neighbor Hub grant through the Detroit Chamber and GM. And with the help of the Arts and Culture Committee, we decided we wanted to create a hub around the log cabin. And that allowed us to buy a PA. It allowed us to just launched this series that is just inspired by the sounds of nature, and wanted to just highlight some of our great jazz artists. And we're in our second year now, and we're hoping to find some funding to continue the series in future years. But we're also just, really delighted that we've been able to do as much as we have.
Yeah. So some of the names that you do have up and coming artists, but you also have legacy artists like we have right now with Wendell Harrison, and you're going to be playing, like you said, Wendell, with Tribe. So if you can just describe a little bit about your career and the weekend that you're going to be performing this Sunday, actually.
Well, my career, mostly I've been actually licensing recordings that we've done in the 90s, 80s, 90s. We own about 10 different labels all over the world, whatnot. Actually, we have another release coming out in October. It's called The Tribe 2000, with featuring the music of Phil Ranlin. This ensemble that will be performing at Palmer Park, I'm dealing with Zachariah Magabo.
Mm-hmm.
He's from Egypt. He plays trombone.
Yeah.
And we have Alan, of course, Alan Denard.
Yes.
And who's playing? Louis Jones on drums.
Mm-hmm.
And Damon Warmack playing bass, and Pamela Wise, my wife, playing piano on keyboards. And we're featuring a vocalist as well, Shelley Kay.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing some things from these different albums. I have about 30 different albums out. So we're doing certain selections on these albums. Doing actually music from the latest one, Get Up Off Your Knees, and doing a little bit of straight ahead funk, reggae, a little bit of kind of like R&B.
Yeah.
Doing an eclectic performance.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
And just sticking with you, Wendell, for a second, just thinking about what you just talked about, one of the things I think about, and one of my questions here is about mentorship in the city of Detroit's music community and passing down that knowledge to another generation. You talked about Alan Denard, which is someone who I've been following for a little while now. Really amazing musician. So if you could just talk about the up-and-coming jazz players right now.
Well, these guys are something else. I've been teaching, I was teaching as a musical educator for jazz studies for the Detroit Jazz Festival for about 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I met Louis Jones. He was I think he was like 11 years old, and he was attending Duke Ellington. And also I met Alan Denard. I met Trinino.
Yeah.
It's so many of them, It's like about 20 of them.
Yeah.
And they were about 10, 11, 13, 12, 13. Now they're adults. They're in their early 20s now, And they're working it. They work in New York. They're working all over the world, So my thing has really been just passing on the legacy of the jazz language, and keeping it alive. I also teach online and have several books on jazz improvisation, the Bebopper's Method book. That some things you never forget if you teach.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps me as well, keeping me alive. Passing it on to the younger people is what I'm all about.
I love that. And before I let you guys go, we have the concert series, which is happening this Sunday. We'll have Wendell performing this Sunday, August 18th from 4 to 7 p.m. at Palmer Park with the concert at the Cabin Series. And Joe, can you just give us the lowdown? There's this one happening this Sunday, but then there's one more after that.
Yeah, so it'll happen this Sunday from 4 to 7 p.m. Louis Jones and Jordan Anderson will be opening. Their duo is called Say Less. And then we have a final one on on September 15th with Aya Simone and the Williamson Wang trio. And if there happens to be any rain or drizzle this Sunday, we'll be right across the street at the Detroit Unity Temple.
Perfect. That's when my question was going to be. What about if it rains this weekend? We've talked about the rain. Perfect. So don't forget to bring your blanket or chair if it is outside. But we have been speaking with Detroiter Wendell Harrison, saxophonist, clarinetist, composer, and educator. Wendell, thank you so much for being here on the Metro.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And then we have Joe Darling, who is the curator of Earth Tones concert series at the Cabin and a member of People of Palmer Park Arts and Culture Committee. Joe, thank you for being here.
Cheers. So thanks so much to you.
Yeah, Earth Tones concert at the Cabin is this Sunday, August 18th from 4 to 7 p.m. Wendell Harrison and Tribe are the headliners with opening act Say Less with Lewis Jones and Jordan Anderson. Don't forget to bring a chair or a blanket. Thank you.
Coming up this Saturday is National Thrift Day. To prepare, we'll talk with someone who co-owns a local thrift store in Hamtramck.
Welcome back to the Metro on 1019 WDET FM, where we are live every day at 11 a.m. weekdays. And you can tell we're live because we've had so many people in and out of the station in the studio today. It feels like a conveyor belt.
Yes, it does. And we have one more great guest.
We do.
Yes, we do. And that's because we live in an era of fast fashion, department stores, malls are closing all the time. And there is still one tried and true source of shopping in real life. That's thrifting. And that's especially true now as this Saturday is National Thrift Shop Day. You know, you have clothes, lamps, picture frames, rocking chairs. You can pretty much find it all at your local thrift store. But thrifting is about so much more than just buying things. It's about affordability, sustainability, and community. Joining me now to talk all things thrifting now is Bree Stacy from Public Thrift based in Hamtramck. Bree, welcome to the Metro.
Hi.
What makes a good thrift find in your eyes?
I think a good thrift find is something that really speaks to your personal style and anything that you think really will exude whatever you're trying to express. I am in a fully thrifted outfit today, so wow. I am definitely a walking example, I think, of what you can find while thrifting and a way to, just show who you are and what you want to express to the world.
And you look lovely, by the way.
Right, absolutely.
Thank you.
We got the black top, we got the tan skirt, we got the necklace.
Thank you.
Can you describe that necklace for us?
It's actually, the chain is from my mother and the little pendants are from my grandmother. So it's very important to me to honor myself and my family with how I dress. And I enjoy things that are personal to me.
And that's the beauty of thrift stores, I think, because almost every find, it is personal because it's not just something coming from some store or some unknown source to you. The source is still unknown, but you feel that it's coming from someone before you. It's lived a past life.
Yeah.
So I need to know kind of what are some of the most interesting or odd things that you've thrifted?
One of the most interesting things, I'm not like a huge brand person or like a designer brand. Yeah, I'm not super like label hunting. I got a very cool, I was doing, it was like a spirit day or whatever you want to say. I got one of those like grandma vests with like tons of snow angels and just crazy stuff like that. That was very odd, but I enjoyed it, and it got a lot of compliments. It's one of a kind, somebody handmade it. It was special to them, and hopefully they felt gratified giving it away because I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, clothes are almost like food, in that sense where you can tell if someone put effort and love into it. It doesn't necessarily, it tastes better than, when it just comes off from the package, you microwave it up. Something unique about thrift stores, though, is that so many are mission-based organizations. You have the Salvation Armies of the world, the Goodwills, Veterans of America, DAV. It seems like thrift stores have a natural tie-in with helping people in need of clothes, employment, housing. Why do you think that is?
I think it's very important to know the community that you're in, to engage with the community that you're in. I know at Public Thrift, we really value keeping it as sustainable as possible. We have so many clothes. We really value when people bring, because we're donation-based, all of our stuff, we don't go out and hunt for anything. We get what we get and we make it work. We get a lot of donations from all different kinds of people from the neighborhood itself, or people just looking to provide for the community that they're coming into. I think that one of the most special things you can do is try to continue to be sustainable, as well as we value keeping our prices low so that everybody can enjoy thrifted clothes. Everybody can find at least one thing that they can take home and enjoy. It's not always about the most expensive or flashy, or just things that people can find some value in is the most important.
We're speaking with Bree Stacy. She's a worker owner at Public Thrift in Hamtramck, and we're talking about what Public Thrift is doing to prepare for National Thrift Day on Saturday and why people love thrifting so much. And you had just mentioned a couple things there. You had mentioned the sustainability portion of thrifting as well as the affordability portion of thrifting. I know that there have been some concerns with, as thrift stores become more and more popular, that there's less affordable quality items there for people who may not be able to shop at a major label brand or a major brand. At the same time, though, we have fast fashion where there's a lot of just clothes coming onto the market that people are cycling through, and instead of throwing those away, I donate those to a thrift store. I'm curious kind of how many clothes that are donated to thrift stores come from the fast fashion economy?
I'm grateful that a lot of the clothes that we get aren't from fast fashion brands. We kind of try to filter those out because the quality usually isn't there. When people buy fast fashion items, it's typically a one and done situation. So we really try to just limit the amount of fast fashion that we accept. Again, we're donation based, so sometimes we do have to take things based on like inventory and things like that. But if we can avoid it, we do try to just accept like quality pieces, because nobody wants to go to a thrift store and get scraps or just something that they paid money for that's not going to last more than 2 weeks,
Not try 20 Forever 21. When I see it in the shop, sometimes I'm just like, we could have left that one.
We could have left that. Turn it into something else. And that ties back into like sustainability and things like that. You can use those things to make other things and make art or anything really. It doesn't have to always, go straight to the trash or get dumped in a thrift store just because you don't want it,
Yeah, and I'm curious. So since National Thrift Day is this Saturday, how are you preparing for that? Are you having any special sales? How are you making sure that people are going to find some good stuff?
This is so bad, but I had no idea that National Thrift Store Day was on Saturday. But I am hoping to plan some last minute things for the shop. I love doing sales, and I love when people come in and they have no idea that you can get some special things from us. So maybe I'll throw something together last minute.
You heard it first. She's going to do that, okay?
I'm going to do it. I promise.
Yes, okay.
Bree Stacy is a worker owner at Public Thrift based in Hamtramck. Bree, thank you so much for joining us on the Metro.
Thank you. This is great.
Yay.
Tonight is WDET Sounds Like Detroit concert hosted by our very own Jeff Milo. The musical showcase features 5 of the top artists from Michigan who made submissions to NPR's famous Tiny Desk concert, and that concert is at New Center Park tonight at 6 p.m. Tickets are available at WDET.org/events. And that is the Metro for Thursday, August 14th. You can listen to recent episodes online at WDET.org, and make sure you subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform. The show is also on YouTube if you like listening that way.
Exactly. The show is produced by Sam Corey, David Lyons, and Jack Philbrandt. Additional support from Sydney Walkley. Our engineer is Nate Bender. Welcome back, Nate Bender. And music's done by Sam Bobian and Will Sessions. This is WDET-FM, Detroit Public Radio, your connection to news, music, and conversation. Thank you so much for listening. I will be back tomorrow. Colin will be back tomorrow. Thank you, guys.